What's up guys, welcome back for another FTL run. Today we are going to play the Torus. The Torus is the only ship which starts with a built-in drone controller. Therefore the game plan will be to get some more iron weapons like the Iron Blast 2 we already have here, to stun the enemy shields and later on the other weapons, to then let the combat drones handle the rest. We also want to get a defense drone to be proof of missiles which ruined one or two of the last Kestrel runs. In addition to the built-in drone controller, the other nice thing is the augmentation it starts with. The NG mod dispersal allows the crew to be healed outside the med bay. This allows us to operate in other systems while getting healed, such as repairing them or fighting some intruders. For the crew we start with a human as well as two NGs. The NGs are born engineers and therefore are quite nice to repair systems as they can repair them faster than any other can. So without further ado, let's hop into the run. As I developed a feeling for the playstyle of the Torus, which is rather different to the one from a Kestrel, I soon enough encountered some poor souls fleeing from giant alien spiders. Brave me sent a crew member to help these fellows, and as a reward for my help, my crew member got eaten by the spiders. I was frustrated, and as I was only 1 minute into the run, I started all over again. Run 2. Very early into the run, I found a rebel space station salvaging some military goods. The only thing between me and a tiny bow of their weapons for undefined time was an AI-controlled ship which didn't see me yet. As I was very confident to destroy it with ease, I challenged it, and after blasting it apart, I investigated the station and found a swarm missiles weapon. After some kills, I figured out that the stun of the enemy shields lasts for a period of 8 to 9 seconds. As my Iron Blast 2 only has a cooldown of 4 seconds, this allowed me to flip the iron targets between their shields and their weapons, keeping both of them stunned as long as the iron shots hit. However, becoming the micromanagement goat didn't prevent me from getting crushed by missiles. Again. Therefore, I had to do a tactical retreat and jump into Sector 2. Only one jump later, I encountered some half merchant, half scientist people which studied the art of metal reshape, and as they offered me a presentation of their work, I gave them 40 scrap to craft me a drone for my drone controller. And I received garbage. After I got shredded by a laser beam, I decided to level up my shields and continue. Only one jump later, I met some laneless merchants, and as I wasn't interested in exchanging resources, I asked about the translating device through which they understood me. They called it high quality and offered me to purchase it, and as I was curious, I accepted. Turns out, their so-called device was another laneless which then joined my crew and became part of the family. I was fighting some slaver scum, and on the verge of death they offered me a prisoner in exchange for their pity lives. I would have loved to erase them from this world, however my crew was still little, and these days the hiring prices of mercenaries is quite high. That's why I accepted and Giles joined the crew. Some fighting later, I jumped into Sector 3. As I enjoyed the view in space, a fugitive mantis teleported onto my deck, begging me for help against its pursuers. Usually, I dislike bugs in my home, but mantis on the other side have a special place in my heart, which led me to side with a mantis against the fellow NGs. At first, the fight seemed hopeless, as they had a defense drone too, which does not only counter missiles, but any projectiles. After thinking what to do, the swarm missile spoke to me and told me to charge it up 3 times so it would shoot 3 missiles at once and therefore overload the defense drone. I executed what the swarm missile told me to do, and it was successful. As fighting is so tiring, I flew to a local store to rest for a bit and decided to see what they have in stock. The merchant made the teleporter appear tasty, so I bought it for later and in addition got my ship fixed. In the last fight in Sector 3, the teleporter had its usage, through which I secured a bit more scrap. After that I entered Sector 4, the Nebula. During a few fights I took more and more chip damage, and as I was on the verge of death I upgraded my shields to 3rd level. This was a life-saving decision, as only one jump later I had to fight against some slug with the equivalent of a Death Star laser beam, which luckily can't shred through 3 shields but only 2. To my relief, a store appeared next to me, and I got my ship fixed up as much as the rest of my scrap savings allowed me to. I continued to wander around in the nebula and found myself next to a plasma storm. Lightning struck through the shadows and for a brief moment a few ships loomed up. I was convinced to search out for survivors, but the only thing I could find was a fire drone. Sad that I couldn't save anybody, I continued my journey and found another store which had an Iron Blast 2 for sale. I bought it to be able to stun enemy shields even through 3 to 4 layers. In addition, a scrap recovery arm was now also mine, giving me 10% more scrap salvation. Into Sector 5. I further upgraded my weapon system as well as my reactor to now have both Iron Blasts ready to fight. One jump later, I noticed a rebel ship chasing after a civilian transport. The Federation channeled me and informed me that these people in the transport are Federation loyalists. Therefore, I didn't waste any more time and ate the transport. Even though the rebel ship got destroyed, it also hit the transport, and as more and more life started to fade away, I beamed every sign of life onto my deck. One human offered me to join my crew, whilst the others told me about a hidden Federation base to drop them. Into Sector 6, I upgraded my reactor, teleporter, as well as my drone controller, and could now have 2 combat drones active at the same time. Soon my ship encountered a hostile mentorship, and as they teleported onto my ship and almost died, I tried to secure the kills by teleporting on my end. However, I had to retreat from the 2v2, but as the teleporter was still on cooldown, I had my 2 crew members run into parts where no enemies was for that moment. As my companions were weak from the fight, my combat drone shot on the enemy ship and sniped my own crew member Pipulak to death. Maxwell just survived this attack, but had no time to mourn about his fallen friend, as he was still chased by the foes. They successfully cut his way off, but the teleporter was just off the cooldown through which Maxwell could be saved. We didn't have much time to process the loss until we got attacked by another mentor ship, which shut down our oxygen. During the heat of the fight, I got distracted and wasn't aware of the lack of oxygen. In the pilot's cockpit, where Stelly was bravely repairing the system, which led to her death. I couldn't stand my own lack of competence, through which we lost 2 important crew members in such a short period of time. However, since we were so close to the fight against the rebel mothership, my crew told me to keep it up, and we entered Sector 7. This sector seemed to be the equivalent of a Tatooine, full of thieves and enslavers. I did not only fought 2 but 3 of this slaver scum. However, I spared the life of 2 of them, as they offered me a free fighting skilled rockman as well as a mantis. And as I was low on numbers, I needed to accept both of them, as I wanted to use my teleporter, which otherwise would have left me with only 3 crew members when being attacked by intruders. Before I entered the final sector, I bought a cloaking, a backup battery and a defense drone 1 to be ready for some anti-missile shenanigans. In addition, I upgraded my drone controller to level 6 and weapons to level 7. Hopping into the final sector, I farmed some scrap to upgrade my weapons to level 8. From now on I could use both Iron Blast as well as the Swarm Missile and was ready to beat up the boss. Going up against phase 1, I intentionally didn't activate my combat drones to prevent another friendly fire death, as my strategy was to TP into 3 of their weapon systems, kill their bodyguards and destroy them this way to be able to rip them apart as quick as possible in phase 2 and 3. However, since the boss TPs every crew member into my ship in phase 3, I must leave one weapon bodyguard alive, since the ship would otherwise start its AI and repair itself without any crew member needed. Going up against phase 2, I quickly shut down the missiles as planned and was ready to rip phase 2 apart. Everything seemed fine until the boss activated its first spam wave of combat drones, in which I forgot to power up my cloaking with some energy and therefore got damaged down to my last third of HP. However, since I have a learning curve, I fueled the cloaking with a second power bar and finished phase 2 from there on undamaged. Going up against the last phase, I didn't got the chance to TP onto enemy's territory, as the Zoltan shield prevented me from doing it. From this point on, I just powered every weapon and drone I had and combined forces onto their shields to finish the race against the time, as I needed to hold my cloaking for the laser spam ability and therefore needed to tank the missiles. You might ask yourself what the problem was to TP onto their ship as the Zoltan shield dropped. Well, I needed all forces to hold up against the intruder spam combined with their mind controller, which turned one of my crew members against me. As I put up a brave fight, I eventually overcame the intruders and then gave the boss the final blow. Nice, let's go! Victory! Yahoo! Victory! Victory, victory, victory. Victory. And that's the story of how I won with the Torus. It's been your boy L, and yeah, till next time.